lecture ever. So I'm going to talk about design and wireframing. Okay. So why does this matter? Well, milestone 1 is coming up. If you've looked at the About page on our website, you'll see there's a lot of to-dos to do, and this is going to help you a bit for preparing for that. We'll talk a little bit more about milestone 1 closer to the end, but I'm going to speed through the actual lecture part of this. So, let's see if this works. Nope. Nice. Okay. Why do we care about design? So, most people, when we talk about design, you think about how it looks. But design, all the aspects we're going to talk about, is what drives users to stay or go away. If Facebook looks super ugly, probably we wouldn't keep it. But there's multiple aspects to design other than that. We have UI versus UX. Let's talk about the MIT old page from 2003 looked like really bad. And nobody wants to use this website. It's very hard to tell what we're about. It also clearly shows that we haven't thought about what the people are going to look at. There's so much going on over here in the news section that you're like, what am I supposed to be thinking about? What am I supposed to be getting out of this? If you look at our newer website, it very clearly shows the top priorities for you. You see news, showing off how cool we are or something, and search in case you want to find other things. So this gives you a much better user experience as well as making things look nicer. So let's break down UI versus UX. UX stands for user experience. It's actually the flow of how you go through an app. What do you do? How do you do something? So we're going to have some examples, if I can click. Great. So summarize UI versus UX, you've got this wonderful thing. So the user experience of using the Heinz tomato ketchup in the glass bottle is super hard. Like you're just like trying to get everything out, just constantly like shaking it, hoping it will come out. But the squeeze bottle is wonderful. You just squeeze and it's instantaneous. And this kind of is a good summary of the difference between UI versus UX. The glass bottle looks great, but you have a much better experience using the squeeze bottle. And this is something we want to also think about in the way that people use our apps. And I will just click. All right. Let's talk about how visual design aids UI and UX. Good design, we're going to have 3 big points about what good design does. So from a more aesthetic level, good design should convey identity. By going to like this page, it looks pretty generic. This page also looks pretty much the same as the last one. We've got these columns, the black header. It's all the same. You might think it's good and consistent across all the things, and maybe when you're looking at stuff, you'll find something called Bootstrap and other libraries that help you have components and styling already. It's good for consistency and basic layouts, but they all look exactly the same. There's a gajillion of those websites that all look the same, and a lot of startup websites look the same. But we can convey good identity through the same kind of layout, but through different things. Let's take this one for Dante. We have this image. We have the same sort of like, there's an image in the background, but through its font, we get a different feel from this one, which is pretty much the exact same layout we've got in the corner. The name of the company, we've got some large image and text over the image, but this is much different from the last one, and this one feels very different from the other. So by just using some simple ideas of fonts, colors, color palettes, and shapes, we can identify our website different than other websites. So that's something maybe you want to think about. If you want like super tech, high-tech looking website, you might use sharp edges, clean light palette. If you're trying to look like very soft and friendly, you might have rounded corners and like lots of rounded shapes. Another way to also help differentiate yourself, a lot of websites will have maps on them, and everybody knows what Google Maps looks like, but you can also still add styling. There's a bunch of libraries that help make your Google Maps just look much prettier and more aesthetic. So there's a way to style everything to look nice. Good design also conveys importance. This is more on the user experience side. And we have a website that's super cluttered, everything is asking for your attention, you don't know what you're going to do. What is happening? I don't even know what this website is. I don't remember where I found it either, so I can't tell you anything. But Discord's website, on the other hand, we have a very clear header. It tells you exactly what the pitch is, chat, play, and discover games with your friends, and the buttons for downloading and opening Discord are obvious and prominent. They're not like obscured by other things. So the first things you go to, and the first things they want you to click, are clear and centered. And the way we do this is actually through a bunch of negative space. If we look at bad user experience, there's a bunch of examples. There's so much text, it's cluttered. Good UX is actually about cleaning stuff up, being more minimal, and drawing attention to the things that matter. Because inevitably, you don't want your users to do everything and anything. So on this note about your experience, usability and readability is a big thing. What does this mean? Making it easy to use, the obvious buttons, clearly what you want them to do, is laid out very well. That is usability. Learnability is about how you figure out how to do something for the first time. The first time I go onto your website, do I know what to do? If you just have a text box, like, do I press enter after I type in the text box? What am I supposed to put in the text box? So here's an example of something that's on the usability, learnability side. Without these numbers, how would you know to go in this order? This doesn't make any sense. We would start in the top right, go down, and then go back left. We don't read in this way, we read left to right in English. And so this layout is not very learnable without the steps. But if your layout maybe is not the best, you can do things by obviously signposting how people are supposed to use and learn the product. And once you've learned it once, if everything looks the same, if everything that looked like this worked this same direction, so if another one made you go in a different direction than this one did, the steps are in a different order, it'd be hard to use from object to object. Good design can also convey emotion. This is one of the harder ones to do. If you look at Airbnb's old website, it looks kind of janky. And their new website shows a lot of effort into making things more open, clear to see, and trying to convey that they're trying to be warm and welcoming. Welcoming someone else into their home. And you can also see that with how they've tried to redesign their Airbnb logo. Another example of emotion is that Twitter like button. When you click it, it's like beautiful. That's like fantastic. I want to click that because I want to see that every single time. And that's another way to do it. You can get people to click like buttons to share things, and clicking it is a great experience. If you just you're like, wow, that's why clicker games work, right? So how do we get good design? A pared down version of this can be done through wireframing, which I kind of briefly went over during the last 10 minutes of Monday's lecture. We're going to kind of dive deeper into this. So wireframing looks kind of like this. When you look it up, you see all of these boxes, and it's about laying out what things are. So you can get this idea of what is the important components, how things should look like, and all those design aspects we can do without actually having content. Because, for example, if we were trying to make Facebook, we didn't know what it looked like, and our first steps were to make the website, and we have to go populate a bunch of groups, we have to make a bunch of posts, and a bunch of users. It would be a lot of effort before we got to the design phase. But if we just draw everything out using very simple designs, we can get what the layout should look like without having any data. So, repeating, it's supposed to mock up the flow and layout of information. On that note, it should be super drafty. If it's super polished, you're getting too nitty-gritty into the details. It's meant to just be a higher level look at how people should use your stuff. So one of the recommended ways to wireframe is to just do it on paper. Because this way, you won't get super into making everything look great. You're starting to shade and use color pencils, you're doing a little bit too much. So here's a great example of a very drafty looking wireframe. So another example of why we might want to wireframe is to show the flow between different pages. So let's go to the MIT website again, and let's say we're an alumni. This website should probably be good for alumni to look at and be like, wow, we did great, let's donate. So how do we donate? Does anyone have any guesses of where I'd go first to figure out how to donate money? You can just shout it out. Alumni. I heard someone say alumni. There's one more. I hear people whispering search from the staff corner, so I'm just going to say yes. Those are the two ways to get to donate is you can go to alumni or you might go to search. Those are kind of the obvious ones. Let's do search first. When we first start searching, it brings us to this other page. Got the word donate. From here, you'll see one of the options is giving to MIT. Great. And then if we click that, that brings us to this page, which then we see a very obvious make a gift. If we took the alumni route, this takes us to this page, which is a long scrolling document. And finally, you might see in the middle of that paragraph text is a link to generously support, which is kind of hard to find. And then that finally brings us to giving to MIT. flows require a lot of clicks to get there. Nothing is obvious about how I would donate to MIT. And this is something that you could get if you wireframed out, like how many clicks does it take someone to get there? This is clearly not as great of a user flow if your first click was alumni, and then you have to read all the paragraphs of text to figure out how to get giving to MIT. You probably won't get into donating. So let's talk about the tools for how to make a wireframe. We mentioned that you could draft it, so pen and paper. Google Slides has a bunch of boxes and you can draw diagrams. That works too. We talked about Figma briefly on Monday, which I'll show you again, which is another common wireframing tool and it's collaborative. So let's do it. I'm going to wireframe for this submission portal. And I'm going to kind of walk you through really quickly in these 5 minutes how I would wireframe for this. So, if I can find it. The first thing I think about when I'm trying to wireframe for this is what is important. As a student, what do I want to see on this page? Oops, that's such a small thing. There's so much information in submission portal. We have your names, we have all the information you gave us during registration, all the statistics, we have whether you submitted, we have teams, not competing, but what matters for students when you first come on? You probably really care about what team you're on, because you want to know who's on your team and maybe get to your GitHub. But submissions, it's a submission portal. You're meant to actually try to submit things. So in doing this, I might be like, okay, submissions should take up a large portion of the screen, just because that's what you're looking for and that's where I want to draw your attention to. We want some validation that you're logged in. So maybe I'll be like, hello, username. We'll make that much larger. So that way, now you know you're logged in. If we think teams is important, I might be like, your team is team name. And that's a little bit maybe of less importance, so I could make it smaller if I want to. Sure. So then, how is this block going to show me submissions? So there's several milestones for our class. There are 4. You're learning so much about our class. So I'm going to make 4 large blocks. And this is going to talk about what these submissions are. What's important for this? You want to see, did you do it? Did someone else on your team do it? So maybe I'll include something that's like, you did it. You did it. All right. Okay, what else really matters for a milestone? Someone want to shout something out?
Due date.
Due date, yes. So maybe I'll be like, this was yesterday. Because even whether or not I show you whether you submitted it late or on time, what really matters is going forward, you want to know how much time you have left. This is today. This is due. I'm just going to make them all today because that's a lot of effort. Because in all honesty, what we were trying to lay out here is just locations. Doesn't matter if any of this data is real or fake. So this might be a way to do it. Another clear way for me to show you did it, because like maybe I say that's really important for you to know. I can change the color. It can be like, yes, you did it. If you didn't and it's due today, I'll be like, yellow. You should do this real soon. Orange maybe, or warning. But I try not to clutter the screen with too much, and this is how I would start wireframing. Probably want a log out button because you probably want to be able to get out of this somehow. So just to give you a story of kind of how things went for when we actually wireframed this website, because I did this. You can see I went through a lot of iterations of how things should look like. We have many different ways that you could have looked at the milestone. This was our old look. And you can see that we have like the milestone number, when it's due, who submitted it, if it's been submitted. And it's very like general. All the things we just talked about are on these wireframes. This is not how it looks right now, clearly. Because we went through several iterations. These are not very nice looking. So we went through many more iterations of how it should look like. This was the next cleanest look of it, which actually presents you a lot less information. Maybe it looks nice, but as you see here, this is confusing. Like if you look at this browser bar we've got going on, you're in a browser, why are there extra buttons? You're kind of like, what is this? So after doing that, we were like, this doesn't make sense. I was like, wow, it'd be cool if you're late and it's on fire. All the information that didn't need to exist in this wireframe until we hit what we really did, where I did another iteration of it, and we have this kind of clean sort of look, and then I improvised. But regardless, but you see how like we have this evolution of sort of, we started with what's the detailed information that matters on each slide. I tried to provide an identity. This was supposed to look like our logo, but then it became confusing, which we don't want, and that would ruin the experience. And then we went to something much cleaner based off of that. So your wireframes should be somewhat iterative, can help you figure out your layout, flow, and design, and also work out kinks. What doesn't work? We recommend going to weblab.mit.edu/resources. I put up some links about other nice examples of how to do design. So if you go to front end, you'll see icons, design systems. And design systems are a bunch of examples of how different people did it. For example, material design is Google's look. And they explain the philosophy of why everything looks the way it does. If you're kind of interested in that, or just want to look at how something else that looks nice looks, here are some examples. And we also have some inspiration for you over here.